Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. September, October, the fall is a great time to add fruit trees, bushes, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries to your garden. I'm going to be changing this area over. I used to grow vegetables in here, but I have a large garden out there over to the right, and I was really just duplicating things in here and not taking care of them. So I want to transform this space more into a fruit garden. I'll show you how to plant a peach tree, some blueberries, some strawberries, and just transform this space. But now is a great time to put in your fruit trees. I'm in Maryland Zone 7. You got to make sure your fruit trees, your canes, your blueberry bushes, anything that you're putting in match the weather patterns that you have in your zone. So let's get started with taking a look at this space and then cleaning it up. This area really got neglected this year. I've got some blueberries in here. I'll be taking care of those. But coming into this space, all these containers are not getting watered. You can see the fig trees messed up. Got to take care of that. Sage is dying off, mint died off. I'm just not using this space. I duplicated a garden in here for videos way back, but didn't really need to be growing more peppers, more tomatoes. So last year I put in an apple tree. Love it. Got some grapes back there, have some open space in there. Going to put some blueberry bushes right into that space. Strawberry plants are going to go down along the bottom. Have a peach tree that's already in there. Right down here I had strawberry plants waiting to put in, never got to them. I've got strawberries in other parts of my garden. Fall's a great time to be taking your runners, your strawberry baby plants, so to speak, and putting them in different places. Right in here is a bit of a mess. For some reason, years ago, I decided to grow blackberries in that container. I need to move those. Not going to do that now. Maybe I'll do it in spring. But I'm going to clean up this space. The raspberries in here are black raspberries. Any cane that produced this year will get removed in the spring, so this space will get cleaned up. I have raspberries growing in here that I've been trying to get rid of for years. I put them in the wrong place. They got under the deck. They're just a mess, so I'll be cutting them back. Have a grapevine tucked in there. I need to clean that up. Another tree right here. What I'm going to do is just open this space up, get rid of the weeds, and right back in there is all going to be cleaned out, and that peach tree is going to go in there. So I'll have a peach tree, pruned up raspberries come next year. I love these. Another peach tree, strawberries on the bottom, blueberry bushes in different spaces, and this is going to be kind of my second fruit garden. I just wasn't utilizing this space. It became more work to deal with spraying and taking care of the vegetables, so I'm going to put in something that's a little bit easier to care for, but also something that's going to produce for me something that I love eating. And I love the peaches, I love the blueberries, so this is going to be a new space. Let me clean all this up and then we'll get started. So let's start with cleaning up this space first. I'm going to decide where I'm going to put the blueberries. Maybe in the back, as I was saying. Maybe one will go there, some will go in here. You can do this slowly over time. And maybe for the sake of the video, one of the things I want to point out is if I come out here now and I'm like, I got to fix everything. I got to change this over, I got to get into plants, got to put in the strawberries, got to prune the grapevine over here, remove all these raspberries, take care of those, etc. I'm going to get overwhelmed and I'm probably going to wander off and not get to it. So realistically, give yourself a break. I'm going to clean up this space, get those plants into the ground, fight my way down here, open up a path. I will leave the raspberries and grapes for later today or another day, but I'm going to get back there through this tree and get that peach tree in. Maybe not remove everything. My point being is you don't have to fix everything in one day. It's way too overwhelming. Just have a basic plan in place. So let me clean up this space. We'll get to planting. Cleared out the space, cut back the grapes, removed weeds. That's the pile of everything that I took out. That'll all go to the wooded area. Some of it will get composted. Blueberry plants, you want to plant at a minimum 3 feet apart. I plant my plants closely together. They can get really large depending on the variety that you're buying. So some people want 3, 4, even 5 feet in between the bushes because they're going to be growing for 10, 15 years. They're going to grow a long time. This is a space that I'm going to use. That's a 4 foot by 4 foot bed back there. One blueberry in the middle. I'll plant other things around it. Maybe strawberries will eventually go in there. So this bed, and the next bed over will all be strawberries. Setting the blueberry plant here back a little bit. I'll have more open space here if I want to put in some other things. But now I have a blueberry, an apple tree. That's the Third year for this apple tree. It's doing really well. Another blueberry plant, and then I'll work my way down. These circular pieces of fencing are what I used when I had tomato plants and vegetable plants, pepper plants growing in there. I would just drop those around, and that kept the dogs from running through them and wrecking them. I'm not going to need them for this. Also have to get rid of that hose. I don't use it anymore. So that's going to be taken out. So really clean up the space. Next step, we're going to dig a hole. It's not fancy. Everyone says twice as big as a container, you know, just a little bit bigger. We're not going to fertilize the plants now. It's the fall. We just want them to get established. We want to keep them watered, making sure the root ball doesn't dry out. Remember, even if the whole garden is wet, all your plants that you're putting in now, your trees, your canes, your bushes, only have that little root ball. So we're not getting any rain for 10 days. So I'm going to be wanting to water this every other day, at least every 3 days. Just keep it moist. All we want is for the roots to establish over the fall and winter. Come spring, we'll feed them, we'll take care of them. So I'll finish cleaning up, gonna dig the basic hole. No fertilizers going in there. If you have compost, of course, throw it in there. But this is a pretty well-prepared bed. I just want to get the plants in now. That's my goal. I'm not looking for perfection. This is already a nice cleanup. I'm already feeling more motivated to continue. One of the blueberry plants are going to go right into here. You know, just dig a hole. Give it some space, a little bit wider than the root ball. You want to loosen the roots around the edge on the bottom. Nothing fancy. There's no need to fertilize the hole. We're just, again, wanting this plant to establish. What's most important is to loosen the bottom here, you know, maybe 4 inches deep. Create a planting hole where it's easy for the roots to go in to the hole. And then we're going to just plant it to the same level that it's in the container right there. So I got to raise this up a little bit, which is good. That means I'm going to have more soil down here that's nice and loose for the roots to grow into. We're also not worried about the pH of the soil. Blueberries do like a lower pH, a lower number, meaning the soil is a little bit more acidic. We're not going to really address that until the spring. I'm going to use a water-soluble fertilizer that has some acidity to it. And you just have to acidify the general area. That helps the plant pull in nutrients and access nutrients. So please subscribe. I'll show you how I take care of the blueberries come spring. If you wanted to, you could add in some peat moss if you feel like your soil pH is really high, more alkaline. I can tell you the soil here is about a 7. My blueberry plants in my main garden, if you've seen them, they're growing extremely well, and I do the same process. I just plant them in there, maybe add some peat moss, but it's more important to add the acidifying or the acidifier in the form of water soluble come spring. And that looks pretty good, and I'm just going to backfill and set the plant right in there. The plant looks good. Press it in, water it right away, and then you want to water, you know, it's hard to say. I mean, it's going to be 85 to get today. It's going to be a little bit warmer. There's all this great green growth, so it's going to be pulling water out of that root ball. So, you know, a little bit every day, every second day, every third day. Just keep it moist. You want it to survive. Once fall rolls in and it's cooler, it's colder, the leaves have fallen off, you don't really have to do anything to the plant. Just let it be, and come spring we'll take care of it. Okay, I'm going to put in the second blueberry, and then we'll take a look, and I'm probably going to mulch this area too. Make it look good, get it ready for the spring. I want to add some strawberries by the second blueberry bush in that bigger bed. I've been growing these just for such an occasion, so I'm going to take, I don't know, I'll take 4 or 5 out of here, and then I have some other ones growing over here. Take 4 or 5 out of there, and I'll bring them over. I like mixing up different varieties. I don't keep track of them, but I have June bearing, ever bearing, a different mix. But I want to get in about 15 plants, let them get established, and they'll do really well come spring. The second blueberry plant is in, pushed it back a little bit. Going to put in 2 rows of strawberries here, probably plant them 6-8 inches apart. These are actually the containers that were sitting right over here. Those 5 survived. They were completely neglected for the whole summer, not watered. Strawberry plants are really hardy with temperatures and drought and even freezing temperatures. It can almost get down, I think, to, you know, at least below 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and strawberry plants are usually okay. Maybe a little bit lower. Here in Maryland, night temperatures get it to, you know, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe a little bit colder at times, but they do perfectly fine here. So I'm going to plant these 6 or 8 inches apart, maybe 2 rows, tuck them in, and I'm just going to plant them. What's most important for strawberries is you don't plant above the top of the crown right there. So they're going to stay planted right level with how they are in a container. Not worried about if they're beat up or not. They're just going to get put in the ground. And what you're looking for is, doesn't matter what the bigger leaves look like, you just want to see new leaves coming up like this. We got to get rid of that weed. And that means you got a healthy transplant ready to go. Unlike the blueberry plant that doesn't need any fertilizer, I do want to fertilize these, give them just a little light watering of a water-soluble fertilizer. They can continue to grow longer than the blueberry plants, so I think the nutrients will help them a little bit. If you want to skip that, that's okay. I know there's plenty of remaining nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium in here for the plants. Watering, watering, watering. All the plants we're putting in today, you want to make sure they're managed with water for a good 14 to 21 days, even 30 days if it's hot in your area. You don't want the root balls to dry out. Once these are established, they're going to be here for years. Just some quick planting guidelines. Any of the leaves that are really problematic, just break off, clean them up, and then you'll put the plant into the ground with, you know, 1 or 2 leaves. That's all they need. When you pop the plant out, loosen up the roots, get them going in different directions. Just, you don't want them to be all coiled up. Something like that. Going right into the ground, not going past here. We're just going to fill to about there. And again, you'll water them in. You can give them, you know, the light water soluble fertilizer if you want. We're going to take care of all these come spring. These are on their way to becoming dormant. They'll establish. Because I'm in Maryland, and this is really important, when you're buying your fruit bushes, blueberry bushes, apple trees, fruit trees, canes, or whatever, you want to check to make sure you have the right temperatures. Now, you want temperatures that get cold enough so that the plant does what it needs to do. Like if you're in a place where it's warm all winter, apple trees aren't going to grow. They may grow, but they're not going to produce fruit. A lot of your fruit trees, apple, peaches, plums, pears, they need X amount of cold hours to kind of rejuvenate, refresh, and get the signal come spring that they're going to flower and produce fruit. You also want to make sure that your plants can take the freezing cold in your area if you get, you know, freezing temperatures. And all you do is you put in, will blueberries grow in Michigan? Will apple trees grow in Texas? And you'll get your answer. And then you can kind of select the fruit trees, the canes, the bushes that are going to do best in your area. So I'm going to go continue down every 6 or 8 inches, putting in a strawberry plant. And this bed will be really set up for next spring. Strawberries are being put in. They look pretty good. The strawberry transplant here has been growing for so long that it's put out runners. These runners will produce new strawberry plants. So when I put this plant in, say if I put it, you know, right there, I'm just going to stretch this out. It will naturally just grow right into this space, and it will propagate more strawberries for me. Here in Maryland, because sometimes the fall stays pretty warm until November, I may get a couple of flowers and some fruit on here. But the main crop of strawberries is really going to come towards the end of next spring. Strawberries are in. I think things look pretty good. It's really important. Take a second, appreciate what you accomplished. Don't be looking down the garden and saying, oh my God, I got to do all of that. You don't. Just do it in pieces. So the strawberries went in along here. Right back in there, there's going to be a lot more shade. So any strawberries that creep over there, that will be fine. But I'm going to leave that space open. I think there's a columbine flower in there. That may come back. But the strawberries are predominantly where it's sunny. All your plants are going to need at least 8 solid hours of sunshine. So make sure you put them in the right place. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mulch, show you what that looks like. And then when I go over to the other bed, I think it's a bed this size. Instead of digging out all the weeds, I'm just tired. I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to lay down cardboard, dig a hole for the plant, for the fruit tree. We're going to put in the peach tree. Drop in the peach tree, take care of that. Put the cardboard around it, and then put mulch down. It will weed itself over the fall and winter, and I don't have to do extra work digging out all the weeds. Whatever's left come spring, I'll take care of it. But my goal is to just get that corner taken care of, and I'm going to leave everything that's in between, like right there, all those plants. I'm just going to leave that for now. I will come back in a week or 2, clean all that up, but over September, I will have all my new fruit trees, fruit bushes, strawberries in the ground, and this place is going to look great. Slow and steady builds the garden. Next space is to get the peach tree in, And coming in here, this is, again, where I'm gonna, mentally ignore this space. I'll take care of it later. A couple things going on. The black raspberries, these are the new canes. They didn't produce fruit this year, and they're going to the ground, and the tips are touching into the earth, like right in there. They're all gonna root out. So in about a month, I'll come in, clean this up, and I'm gonna take all the raspberries that rooted in the spot, put them in containers, they'll go into a separate place. But this will all get lifted up. This has to get cleaned out, that's gonna go somewhere else. Well, it's not gonna go somewhere else. It's gonna go to another part of my brain. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna let this slow me down. Even have some asparagus popping up in here. When I roll into here, and I started it a couple months back, as far as I got was throwing down a bag of leaf mold. This is the space I wanna get to. Right into here. I think that's liriope that I don't want. Instead of getting in here and digging all this up, I just don't want to deal with that right now. Gonna get a weed eater, come in, whack all this down close to the ground, drop down some cardboard, put in a tree, just get it set up, get that tree set up for now, and then in about a month I'll come in here and I'll take care of everything else. You can do things in stages, and I find sometimes that's the best way to really approach things. Let's walk back down the same path, hit everything with the weed eater, cut up my pieces of cardboard, started digging the hole. I think it looks pretty good. This is what you do if you are tired out, you've been doing a lot. You don't have to make it perfect. Take the weed eater, cut everything down, drop down cardboard into paths if you want, put mulch down. Today I'm just going to concentrate on the bed. Started digging the hole. The peach tree is going to go in there. Couple of tips, just like the blueberry plant, a little bit wider than the container, nice loose bottom. We're going to drop it in right to the same level where it's at. This is a semi-dwarf peach tree, which means it's grafted right here. The trunk up top is different than the rootstock. The trees are grafted together. If you bury over this, roots are going to grow out of this tree, and it's going to turn what you thought was maybe your dwarf or your semi-dwarf peach into a full-size peach tree. You have to keep the dirt level below the joint of the root and the trunk where the grafting is. This way it lives off of that rootstock down there. The rootstock is what keeps it dwarf. Planting hole is dug. The bottom's loosened about 1 or 2 inches. Just make it nice and loose so that the roots can grow into there. In the past I used to put fertilizer in here. You don't really have to do that with the tree. Tree roots are going to go everywhere. It's going to find what it needs. And in the spring, we'll just hit it with a water-soluble fertilizer. The whole goal now is to get the tree established, for the next many years. Loosen up the root ball, get the roots kind of moving in different directions. Down on the bottom, see if I can twist that with one hand. Loosen up the bottom. Just get those new roots, like right in there, going in different directions. I mean, a tree's gonna figure it out. If the root ball's really bad, you can score the outside with a knife, but in real time, I find this is all you're gonna need to do. It's gonna take care of the tree. Drop it in, and you just wanna make sure it's going straight up in the air. And again, the level of the ground is gonna be right to here. About 1 inch going around. Perfect. You don't really have to do anything else. So let me get this set up and we'll finish the video. You do want the soil to be firm, so I take the shovel, flip it over, and I just make sure I pack down the soil that I'm dropping in around the outside of the root ball. Just going to put 2 layers of cardboard down in this 4 foot by 4 foot space. I'm leaving this open because I'm going to come in and remove this later. Cardboard's going to do the trick. It will suppress all the weeds. We're going to put the mulch on top. 2 layers is perfect. The tree will appreciate it. It'll keep everything moist. Just tear it however you need it so that it fits around the trunk, fills up the space. And I'm really, just putting in layers just like that. That's going to work perfectly. If it's a windy day, wet this down as you're doing it. That keeps it from blowing away. When I tamped down the space around the root ball, you want to do that so that the tree doesn't shift and lean a certain way. So you really want to pack it in around the root ball. This way, however you set your tree up now, it's going to stay that way. And if you've noticed some of the leaves are gone, that's because deer came in last night and ate off the leaves when it was outside my fence. It's not going to need to be protected here, but if you're putting trees this size outside the area, you know those little cages, I'll show you them at the end of the video, but the cages I was using to keep the animals, my dogs, and actually not the animals, but keeping my dogs from running through the vegetable garden, would just go around here, and that will protect the trunk from getting pushed over by a deer. Sometimes deer, the male deer, come in, hit them with their antlers, scrape up the bark, and cause problems. So putting a cage around there really protects them. I'm pretty much done for the day. Got the blueberry in. Take the time to appreciate what you've accomplished, and this looks pretty good. Blueberries in, strawberries are in, second blueberry bush is in. Put the mulch down. I think that it looks pretty good. I'll get to the paths later. Coming down here, these are the fencing rings that I was talking about. This will keep my dogs from running through here and trampling on new seedlings and such. You can put these around your fruit trees to protect them from the deer. Coming into this space, this is all going to be taken care of later. If you want to subscribe, you'll see what I do with all these plants when I up-pot the raspberries. And right in here, I think it looks pretty good. I was really tired out. And if you subscribe, you follow my channel, you're going to see that I don't put everything or keep everything, but I don't make everything look perfect for videos. I want you to see what a real garden's like. I think this looks great. This is a lot of work that trees get established, and I will clean this all up over the next several weeks. I don't want to show a perfect garden where like a crew came in and manicured it, because it's not realistic. You have jobs, you have kids, you have multiple jobs, you don't have a lot of time. Just do parts of the garden that you can take care of. I mean, that looks beautiful. Be proud of it, and then the other stuff, come back and take care of it later. If I set up to take care of this entire space, let me come in here, it would have overwhelmed me and I wouldn't have gotten as much done. This is all going to be taken care of in the future. Thanks again, and thanks for watching. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com, and please subscribe. I'll teach you how to grow food, save money, and have some fun. Thanks for watching.